This is Saltwater Priestess, a salt bar created with the minerals of the ocean and the frequency of goddess energy. Prior to even starting this, I took my aloe vera juice that I would use for this batch and I placed it into a cup, and then I took a quartz glass beaker and dropped rose quartz into the beaker. The beaker I set down inside my aloe vera juice and I let it infuse the frequency of the rose quartz crystal for 24 hours. While also infusing that, I played a frequency and song that is goddess energy, and it infused also the aloe vera juice with that frequency of goddess energy. For this batch, I'm using 52.8 ounces of total oil. So I'm using 40.13 ounces of coconut oil, 3.7 ounces of cocoa butter, 3.7 ounces of shea butter, and 5.28 ounces of castor oil. My lye is 7.21 ounces of sodium hydroxide. I split my 2-to-1 water ratio to lye in half, and I used 7.21 water to my lye, because you always want to do 1-to-1 on your lye, and then I used my other 7.21 in aloe vera juice. So as I said before, I fused the frequency of the aloe vera juice with the rose quartz and the goddess energy frequency, so that liquid actually carries the imprint of love and divine feminine resonance. So that gives me a 33.3% lye concentration with a 2-to-1 water to lye ratio, essentially, with knowing that I used aloe vera juice as part of my water concentration. This recipe is from a soap book by Anne-Marie of Brambleberry. I have enjoyed learning from Anne-Marie as a new soap maker. She is awesome. She gives great tips. She really shows you how to break things down. And she's very big on safety, which is a good plus. And I learned a lot. I highly recommend her book to anybody who is a new soap beginner. It gives you a good place to start and to practice, and that way you can start kind of building your own recipes, your own formulations from there once you get a good feel for how things are moving and things are working. I will be posting the recipe at the bottom of the video. I do create my own scents, so the Saltwater Priestess is a scent that I created myself, and it is a mixture of several scents. I do love brambleberry scents, but I do use a lot of different scents from Makesy and Wholesale Supplies Plus. I've got several from them, but the majority of my stuff is brambleberry scents. They seem to play really well together when I start blending. I am putting in 3 tablespoons of colloidal oatmeal into my oils. Going to put in 3 tablespoons of powdered goat milk. I love using goat milk. I love the skin benefits that I feel that you get in your soap from the goat milk. I am opting to use powdered here because powdered doesn't seem to get as hot as using liquid goat milk. Although I do like using the liquid better, but I don't want to volcano my salt bars, so I opted to go with powdered instead. I am also going to place in 3½ teaspoons of rose clay, and that will give me my pink color, which will lend also to my rose quartz energy here. You want to get all these powders mixed in really good. Just making sure all my powders are good and mixed. I don't want any clumps anywhere. Also, while I'm making this soap, I'm playing the goddess frequency music in the background. You probably won't be able to hear it over the video, but I am playing it. Here comes my lye water. So once again, I have the 1-to-1 ratio of the water and lye in the container. I did pre-mix. I learned from Simi on Muddy Mint to master batch my lye water prior. So I did have my water and lye already mixed, which is great because then you don't have to wait for your lye water to cool down prior to making your soap because it's already cooled, which is a great way. And then all you have to do is add your extra liquid that you're using for your soap. Just messing with my camera here a little bit. The screen keeps going black on me, and sometimes when it does that, it shuts off the recording. I'm not quite sure why it's doing that, but Here I'm putting in 2 teaspoons of honey. I'm using a powdered honey instead of real honey. Real honey tends to get a little hotter, and with the goat milk, like I said, I don't want to volcano my bars, so I'm just using a little bit of powdered honey instead. It doesn't get as hot as natural honey does. Now that's my 1-to-1 water and lye ratio. And then I have my aloe vera. It is separate. Just checking the temperature of my batter to make sure it's close to the temperature of the lye water, so it's not a huge difference. Here I'm just reading off the recipe to you. I'm doing a voiceover because my voice didn't pick up well when I was recording this, so my voice in some of this video may not be lining up well together. Now we're just going to blend till we come to a light trace. I'm going to make sure we get all of our lye blended in to the soap batter. Definitely want to burp your hand mixer so you don't incorporate a bunch of air into your soap batter. checking for trace here, just to make sure that everything's good and blended. I want my batter to a little more than thin trace because I want it to suspend the salt. I don't want the salt sinking to the bottom of the batter. So you have to be a little thicker than just thin trace to be able to hold the salt. I'm adding in 2.6 ounces of the Saltwater Priestess blend. This is a soft ocean feminine profile that ties everything together. I'm going to get this mixed in really well. Once again, just making sure that my fragrance is getting completely incorporated into the batter. Now I'm going to add in my 38 ounces of fine sea salt here. And I should have left it alone there and started putting it into the mold. But I wanted the sea salt to suspend a little more than what it was, so I decided to blend a little more. Big mistake, because it starts setting up on me too fast and I'm having to scoop it to the molds. Now, had I not watched Anne Marie on Brambleberry when she was making a salt bar, and she was scooping it over because she didn't want to wait on it to set up, I would have been panicking and freaking out instead of jumping to just ladling it into the bar molds, because it got thick really, really quick. So keep that in mind. Salt moves really quickly, so you want to move quickly. Using bar molds are better than using a soap loaf mold, because salt bars get very, very hard. They're very difficult to cut. So if you let them set too long in a loaf mold, there's no way you'll get them cut, and you'll end up with a whole mess on your hands. So I did opt to do the bar mold because I wouldn't have enough time to keep up with the salt bars to make sure that I unmolded them in a timely manner, because it was late at night when I was doing this. See how thick that is already? So definitely one of those live and learn experiences. This was the first time of me creating this specific bar and fragrance. And I do realize here in a minute that I've got the bowl in the way and you guys can't see anything, and I'll push the bowl over so you guys can see. I'm trying not to make a mess. I'm trying to ladle it in perfectly. And as I'm trying to get it ladled in perfectly, it's getting more and more thick. Even though I tried to tamp them down really well, they did not go down the best in the world. There were some spots on them, so they were a little more rustic, but I was okay with that. I'm trying to stir it there a little bit to try and get it to smooth back out a little. Didn't help a whole lot. Trying to smooth my tops out a little bit. .99% rubbing alcohol. That's what I'm using in that spray bottle.